Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new interview. This time we have a special guest, Stavros Bologanidis. He is the founder of Datascouting, and I guess most of our viewers do already know him. But I would like, first of all, to thank Stavros for joining us today. And secondly, I would just like to ask you, Stavros, if you could quickly introduce Datascouting for us.
Sure. Thank you very much, Romina. Datascouting is a software company. We create software for media monitoring companies and organizations. We have software solutions ranging from print media monitoring to broadcast media monitoring, TV and radio, online and social media monitoring. So I think that we offer fully integrated solutions to media monitoring companies and organizations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I was just, we were actually talking a little bit before I started recording, so maybe just taking it back where we left it. I mean, I was actually interested in knowing what's the situation right now in Greece. I mean, in Germany, we are fairly, let's say, free. And I was just wondering, what's your reality at this point?
I think that we are almost back to normal. So we're out of the lockdown. We can go out, which is very important. Most of the shops are already open, restaurants. So we're back, let's say, to normal. But not the strange thing, the difficult thing is that right now some coronavirus cases start reappearing because in Greece we were almost with no new coronavirus cases on a daily basis. But now we see a small increase, but hopefully everything will be fine.
Well, that sounds good. I mean, it's just very interesting for me to have the opportunity to interview several of our members these days because everybody is going through something different. I mean, our colleagues of course, in Latin America, USA, and so on, they have a completely different reality than the one that let's say we are having at this point. So it's very interesting to learn what's the situation in each corner of the planet. But maybe let's just focus a little bit on our industry and what we do, and talk about a little bit of the working changes, or let's say the structural changes that we have experienced. I mean, most of us, due to the pandemic, started working from home, which was, let's say, not really voluntary. It was kind of, you had to. So now that things are loosening up, I'm pretty sure that you, as well as several others, are considering whether or not to go back to, let's say, the way things were before the pandemic, just going fully to the office, or maybe just reducing the amount of office space. How are you dealing with working organization?
So at Datascouting, we already had remote working options for most of our team members. So we didn't have to make any adjustment to this because of the coronavirus pandemic. But for a long time during the lockdown, everybody was fully remote. Now that the lockdown is over, we have to follow, of course, some government instructions which limit the number of staff in the office. But again, this is not an obstacle for us. I see that as an opportunity, especially for the development team, because they avoid traffic, they're able to schedule their way more flexible. So currently, our employees have two options: to either continue working from home or to come back to the office and work from the office. We leave it optional for them. We make sure that our team has everything they need from a technical point of view or for their well-being. And it works very good. Productivity has gone up, in my opinion, a little bit up. And this is something that we compensate our team for their hard work.
So you mentioned two interesting things, at least from my perspective. The first one is now it's up to the team whether or not to go back to the office. And the second one is, of course, that productivity was rising. So my questions related to this would be, first of all, do you think that this increase in productivity is due to the fact that people was working from home?
Productivity regarding the development team really was better. It was two things, I think. It was the lockdown, so everybody was supposed to remain at home, so they could not go out. And I think work is a very good thing. So if you work on things that you're really interested in, then your refugee basically is going and working more. So working from home also played a role in this, because most people, and especially young people, find that home is a better place for them to work in. They have their own schedules, and we're quite free and relaxed with them following those schedules. So I'm quite happy about this.
Yeah. And if, let's say, if you would assume that most of your team and colleagues are going to choose for like to stay at home most of the time, um, do you think you're going to reduce the office space?
No, we're not thinking about that. We still have that option. This is not a final decision, so we were not so we haven't decided from that point on, from this point on, to be 100% remote. But we will see. At least until September or October, we will continue working on this dual, let's say, scenario. This is for the development team. Of course, there are other parts of the company that have to be present in the office. So, but we are mostly developers, so this is our main concern.
Yeah, for sure. And well, of course, important in such situations is the way we communicate. And how did you manage? I mean, you said already you already were kind of working remotely, or you were used to this type of organization. So I guess there were not many changes in terms of your internal communication with employees and with your teams. I guess you had your software in place for that, right? Or did you have to do any changes, or how is it now?
We were also communicating via Slack, Trello, Zoom. So these software utilities were all a part of our daily lives anyway. So communication through digital medium was something that we had in place for a long time. Uh, so regarding external communications, we reduced traveling, of course. Non-essential travel were reduced to minimum, but we maintained contact with clients, partners through video conferencing. Also, we have done several things regarding to webinars or campaigns. So the idea is to keep our clients informed on what we are doing and assuring them that, at least from a technical perspective, everything remains as it used to be.
Yeah.
We had planned some events. So, for example, FIBE Tech Day and the International Sales Day in Athens that we had organized was cancelled due to coronavirus. But of course, this is something that we should do. That well, health is more than anything.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, well, now moving forward, in most countries, let's talk a little bit about the situation with media types. And like in most countries, the relevance of different media types and the advertisement distribution changed. Did new software requirements or processing ways occur due to this?
Well, print media suffered the most during this pandemic. The feedback I got from several clients is that, at least for print media, some subscriptions did increase, but they had advertisement problems or revenue problems. And I think most publishers found some ways to keep up with the current situation. In my opinion, also, TV and radio, so broadcast media, were less affected by the crisis. Also, digital consumption increased. So streaming services, online services, social media, of course, also increased. From a software perspective, the coronavirus pandemic, I think, validated our core beliefs, the belief that we build data scouting on. So that the entire media monitoring workflow needs to be 100% enabled remote. So we have designed our software with cloud infrastructure in mind, and this is something that proved up to be great. Also, I think that we got some feedback from customers that basically they needed to stop fearing of the unknown. So I think that we helped them in that
Mm.
way, and most of them didn't have any problems because they were already using our software remotely, so they didn't basically change anything.
Mhm. And this day, the topic of the trust in media, as well as identifying hate speech and all this type of fake news and stuff, are fields of growing interest. From your perspective, what role should the tech providers of the media intelligence industry take in this regard?
Well, hate speech and fake news is a phenomenon that is unfortunately growing, especially in social media. And also the harm that hate news and hate speech and fake news can have is overwhelming. So data scouting, we focused basically on hate news. So we work together with the European Journalism Center on a project called DAX. And basically on this project, we developed learning-based hate speech detection models and an open source hate speech database. So this was a very difficult task because hate speech is very difficult to differentiate from, for example, personal attack. And also hate speech changes the way that it is uttered through time. So that we used some very special and very interesting active learning based techniques in order to approach the problem. And those techniques are techniques that we have already included to our media monitoring platforms. So this was a very good project for us.
And how about fake news?
So fake news is a little bit different problem because in order to identify fake news, you can either work with the graphs, so the social media graphs. So who is the one that, for example, says something, and also you can work with organizations, human beings, basically, that have to identify if this is really fake or not. This is something that we have not really touched to this point because this is again a very difficult problem. Mainly, our main experience on out of those two is hate speech.
Mhm. Well, this is something to look forward to. I think it's a topic, as we said, that is on the spotlight as well. So it's always important for us to try to find solutions for it, so that our clients in the end can trust the information that they are receiving. So, considering the economic damage in the globe, are there emerging sectors or maybe countries or target groups in need of state-of-the-art media intelligence software solution?
Well, yes, as long as there are media monitoring and media intelligence will always be needed. And the need to integrate technologies that will help media monitoring companies or media monitoring organizations to be more productive is evident. Likewise is the need for companies to finally embrace cloud. Easy web-based user interfaces are, and machine learning also, is something that we have focused on for several years in data scouting. I think that media monitoring companies are more and more interested in working with all those technologies that everybody has been talking for many years, uh, in order to become faster, cover more sources, and become better.
Mm,
I think another important thing for media monitoring companies is to have a streamlined platform in order to do their daily work. That will help them be as effective as possible, covering both local sources, global sources, online, print, broadcast, or whatever.
mhm. And which would you say that are I mean, if there is any, I don't know, is there any countries that you would consider emerging in terms of demand at this point?
Well, since our last FIBEP conference in Latin America, I think that this is something that it's quite growing for us. We had several requests there, but we also targeted a campaign for Latin America. So I see several requests from Latin America. Africa continues something that it's quite important for us. It's a developing continent. So in many countries, new startups related to media monitoring uh, start with fresh ideas, new business models. So it's refreshing to talk to new people that want to get into the market.
Hmm. So what kind of opportunities or threats do you see?
Well, I think that most of the opportunities, in my opinion, have to do with technology. So I think that media monitoring companies have to identify basically their assets and they have to invest in technologies. Also, I see for us as a software provider, I see also additional opportunities. So, for example, I really believe that a media monitoring stream, when properly filtered and automatically augmented with metadata, can be used for artificial intelligence algorithms to solve problems related to predictions, business intelligence, etc. So, for example, we are working on a project, global trading company, to create predictors used in stock market trading, portfolio management, and one of those predictors would be an input from media monitoring input from media, properly, of course, filtered and augmented by artificial intelligence algorithms. So this is something, again, that for us as a technical provider is very interesting. And hopefully in a few months, you will get some feedback from me for the results of this project.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It sounds definitely very, very interesting, and I think it could be. I mean, depending on the software, and I guess this won't be very hard to do. Just like you could adjust this type of predictors to apply to analysis of data for the media intelligence industry, besides the financial data. So I can already see some other use cases for that.
Well,
So
yes, this is
yeah.
something very interesting, yes.
What so do you think that FIBEP can help you as a technical provider in any way to cope better with this current situation with the pandemic?
Well, FIBEP is an important role, a leading role in keeping the media intelligence community connected. So, being able to talk with friends, such as you, for example, or share experiences with other partners or even competitors is very important. It helps a lot in understanding that we are on this in this strange situation together, and that we can share experiences and best practices. We can learn from each other and become stronger. And hopefully, when we get back together live, to feel more connected. So I think feedback helps all of us by keeping us connected, keeping us talking to each other, and hopefully we will meet each other live in the next feedback event.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we are all looking forward to. I mean, the question will be how and when this is gonna be. Um, but maybe just I was just thinking, if you would give an advice, let's say, to other FIBEP members that might be planning also on let's say on the strategy for a post-lockdown world, what advice would you give them?
I think that in all those situations, you have to reevaluate uh, and restructure. You think about restructuring at least your business. You don't have to restructure anything, but it's good to be in a position and start this reevaluation and this restructuring at least in your mind. Then media model companies will understand which are basically their main assets. And this, I think, will help them decide the road that they will take in the future. This is a very general advice, but I think it's a good thing to have in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you restructure in any way? I mean, talking about it.
We gave a lot of thought about finding new, and this is something that we do on a yearly almost basis, because we are in a position of being a technical company, and there are a lot of opportunities that at least from my perspective, exist in the technical, the IT world. So this is something that we do, and this is something we keep on adding new. That's why we keep on adding new software, new platforms to data scouting solutions. And not everything has to do with also media monitoring. So this is something that we did, and this is something that the coronavirus accelerated, because this was a process that the coronavirus made us think uh, faster about the future long term.
Yeah, absolutely. I think actually if there is one positive, let's say the positive note is that I think everybody, both in the personal and in the professional time, had a little bit of time to think and rethink things that they were doing and whether this is the way they want to move forward. And I think this is a really great opportunity for thinking a little bit maybe out of the box and trying to do things that we were doing in the past, but maybe with a new angle. So it's quite interesting, and I'm actually really looking forward to see how our industry is going to be reshaping as a whole, because because as I said, this is clearly a time in which new ideas flow because people have more time to think. so so yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what's going to come.
And also the events, the Grab a Bite, for example, events, the events that FIBEP organizes for people to discuss and feel like they are near each other, but they are not. I think that those help a lot in this direction.
Mm. Talking about this, like we are of course organizing further grab a bite events. Like this is something that we want to keep on going because, I mean, we see that people are enjoying having this networking space and this way of exchanging experiences. We are also working on webinars, as you know. I mean, Sophia was hosting already for FIBEP several, and I'm pretty sure that there are going to be new initiatives coming up. I mean, FIBEP, as I said, is also trying to reshape and rethink and try to find new ways to support members. And this is also why we just ask directly how we can help. Because sometimes it's easier to do it that way instead of trying
Yes,
to
of course, of
assume
course.
that we know the answer. So yeah, that's where we are at. Yeah.
Great. So hopefully this interview also will be of interest to some of the FIBEP members.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. So I would like to just wrap it up here and thank you for your time and for your openness and for sharing with us your experience. And I will really be looking forward to the next time we meet and we can maybe have a personal and direct conversation.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay, take care, Stavros, and stay healthy.
Thank you, Romina.
Bye bye.
Bye.